Hello and welcome to another session in English language. And in this session, we'll be looking at different aspects of English. First, we'll be considering essay writing. And today, our focus is on formal letters and informal letters. And also, we're going to be considering adverbs and adverbials. But before that, let us review our previous lesson. Welcome back. And like I said earlier, we are considering two important aspects of English. One is essay writing, and our focus today is on formal and informal letters. And the other aspect is on grammar or structure, where we will consider adverbs and adverbials. So, we begin with writing. How do we write formal letters and informal letters? So, let's move on to that. Formal and informal letters. Okay? So, what are formal letters? Now, we know that the word formal means that there is an impersonal relationship. That is, you are writing to an official position. So, in this case, formal letters are letters we address to people in official positions. I'll take that again. Formal letters are letters we address to people in formal positions. Sometimes or oftentimes, we do not know them personally. In other words, we are saying that you don't have a cordial relationship with these persons who hold official positions. And those official positions can be in establishments, okay? They can be in schools, they could be in businesses, they could be in houses. Okay, houses there mean you're writing to somebody in the legislative arm of government. Okay, so even when we know these people personally, because remember we said oftentimes we do not know these persons, but even on occasions where we have a good knowledge of these persons, the rule demands that you are very official in your language and style of writing. So don't forget that. Now, we said that formal letters can take any of the following, forms. It could take the form of an application. If you're writing, as an application letter, you want to work in an organization, you write an application letter. And writing an application letter is an example of a formal letter. Applying for admission, okay, is another example of what a formal letter. So your application for admission in a school is also what a formal letter. Okay, we also have that of employment, which I just talked about minutes ago. We have requests for casual leave by staff. Okay, so when you want to request a casual leave, that is, you want to stay off work for a while, okay, to go with your family on holiday, then you can put in a formal request, okay, and address it to who it may concern. Then we also have official queries and their replies. Okay, so when a superior issues a query, okay, for an action by their subordinates, the reply and the query itself are formal letters. Okay, then we also have letters by students to the heads of their school, like the principal of your school. Back there in Banjo, okay, so you can write to, as a student, to the principal. You may bring something to his notice. That's a formal letter. You don't say because it's your principal, you say, "How are you, sir?" Don't start with those kind of language, right? So we have letters to local government, chairman of council, as the case may be. You could be applying for a social amenity. Okay, for instance, maybe in your community there are no pipe-borne water. Okay, you don't have a good source of water in your community, so you can write to the government, okay, requesting the provision of such what facility. Now, what are the features of a formal letter? Number one, every formal letter, irrespective of what kind of formal letter, you must have the writer's address and date, and that is always at the top right corner. I take that again. The address of the writer is always at the top right corner. Okay, top right corner. So if we note this, though there are different updates today in English, okay, but let's stick to the one that is appreciable in your exams. Okay, the one that is appreciable in your exam, because we might say you should, do that of the modern, and you might be penalized. So stick to writing your address and date at the top right corner. Then we have the receiver's address, who you are addressing the letter to. That is always on the left hand of the words, or left side of the page. Okay, the left hand side of the page. Then we have the salutation, and you, like I said, whether or not you know the person, address the person as dear sir or ma. Dear sir or ma. Then we have the heading or the topic. Then we have the body of the letter, which is the content. Okay, where you get to discuss why you are writing. Then we have the complementary clause, or what you call the subscript of the letter. The subscript of the letter. That's where you get to, round off whatever it is you have written. Okay, so that is that. All right, this is a specimen of a formal letter, where you have number 3, Frederick Close, Martins Avenue, Banjul, and this letter was addressed 16th May 2021. Okay, and the commissioner, or you are addressing the letter to the commissioner, Ministry of what? Education in Banjul. Okay, so you can see clearly this first part is the writer's address. Then this other part, which is the left side, is the receiver's address. Don't forget, this is the writer's address, and the other left side is the receiver's address. Okay, so let's proceed with our specimen. So we have the salutation. This part deals with, there you have dear sir. Okay, so since we know the person who is the Commissioner of Education is a male personnel, so you say dear sir. If it's female, dear ma. Okay, if you cannot decide, you write dear sir or ma. Okay, so this is your salutation. Okay, this is your salutation. Then we also have the heading or the topic. Okay, so what are you writing on? So now, like this person now is writing, said expansion program for Baptist College. There could be a school like that in Banjul, so you are writing for applying for an expansion program down there in your school. Then we have the body of the letter. You have to write that, like I told you, the body has to do with the content of what the letter. Then on this part, from your yours faithfully down to your name, is what you call the subscript, or what you call the complementary clause. Okay, subscript or complementary clause. Okay, so I told you the close with yours faithfully, but you can see that it's only the first letter of the yours that is in the upper case, or what you call capital letter. Every other letter from OURS till faithfully is written in small letters, or what you call lowercase letters. Then you have your signature that comes up first before your name. Okay, so we move to informal letters. Informal letters are letters are otherwise called private letters, or what you call personal letters, unlike the formal letter where we had them to be official letters or impersonal letters, but in this case it's a private or personal letter. So you write such letters to people who you have a cordial relationship with, people who you are familiar with, okay? And such persons cut across your parents, okay? It could be your father, your mother, it could be your uncle, okay? It could be your aunt, okay? It's not compulsorily just your parents. It could be your father's or mother's brother, that's your uncle. It could be your friend in class. It could be your classmate. It could be other people, as long as there is a cordial or close relationship. Now, what are the features of informal letters? They differ a bit from your formal letter. Number one, we say it must contain what the writer's what address and date. And you know the way we wrote it the other time. So you must write your address and date. Okay, then it's followed immediately by what? Salutation. Please don't always, if you are writing a letter to your friend, please don't ever write dear friend. It's wrong, okay, to do that. What's your friend's name? Dear Dixon. Okay, put your friend's name there. Don't write dear friend. You'll be penalized for such. Then you have the introduction of your letter. Okay, then we have the body of your letter. This is where you state why you are writing. Then in conclusion, we have what you call the complimentary close of the letter, what you call the subscript. Like I told you earlier, you close with yours sincerely, or it could be people write your friend. Okay, but please, it's always preferable you use yours sincerely. So this is a specimen 5 JAMB Street. Okay, you can put a particular location, but you must put Banjul, which is the major city. Except you are writing to somebody outside Gambia, then you can now include Gambia. But if you're writing to somebody within or outside the capital city Banjul, then please try to indicate that also. Then you can see the salutation. This is your salutation here, where you have dear miss. Okay, because I told you don't write dear friend. Okay, then we have the body of the letter, and we have what? The complimentary close. Okay, yours sincerely. You can see it's only the Y that has what? An uppercase letter. Every other thing is what? Lowercase, then a comma. Take note of that. Then we have just your first name. Okay, just your first name. Alright, so I think that alone, if you can follow this information I've given to you, you can successfully attempt questions on formal and informal letters. Okay, so we're moving to another important aspect of English, and that is grammar or structure. And like I told you, we're going to focus on adverbs and adverbials. Now, what is an adverb? An adverb is a word a word that is used to describe or modify a verb. Okay, a word that is used to modify a verb. In other words, we are saying, and I told you, whenever you see the word modify, you say it gives more information. Okay, it gives more information. Alright. So, in other words, we are saying that adverbs gives more information on the action of the verb. It gives more information on how. It gives more information on where. It gives more information on when the action was performed. Okay, so it answers the question: how was the action performed? Where was the action performed? Or when was the action performed? Every adverb addresses or answers the following questions: how the action was performed, where it was performed, or when it was performed. For instance, he frowned. How did he frown? Angrily. The eclipse will occur. When? Soon. Okay, so this is how, and this other one is when. Okay, so I told you adverbs generally answer the question how, where, and when actions are performed. Okay, so the main function of adverbs and adverbial phrases is to simply modify verbs, adjectives, other adverbs, or prepositional phrases. Okay, so they majorly modify verbs. Let's start with that. They majorly modify verbs. They modify or give some more information about adjectives, even other adverbs, and what prepositional phrases. Okay, prepositional phrases. So let's move on to the functions of adverbs and adverbials. Let's move on to the functions of adverbs and adverbials. Like I told you, they answer the question how, when, and where the action is or was performed. Number one, we have the first example, a modifier of a verb, that it gives us more information about the verb. So we have quickly. How did Mary solve the problem? She solved the problem quickly. So quickly here modifies how she solved the problem. So quickly is a modifier of the verb solved. Okay. John visited Musa at Banjul. At Banjul here is modifying what? The verb visited. It tells us where did John visit Musa? At Banjul. Then we also have modifying what? Adjectives. Tall is an adjective. Okay, tall is what? An adjective. So we are saying if tall is an adjective, then very is modifying tall. We could say Peter is tall, but when we say Peter is very tall, we are trying to give more information on the degree of how tall Peter is. Then we have James is far more handsome than Silas. Now it's showing us that we could say James is handsome, or James is more handsome than Silas, but we can say James is handsome. But if we now want to show the degree or the extent, we say James is far more handsome than Silas. Alright? Then we have them modifying other adverbs. Fast is showing us how. Okay? I can say Bumi runs fast. Okay? Bumi runs fast. But if I say Bumi runs extremely fast, I'm showing you the degree. So this extremely is modifying the adverb fast. Right? So let me move down to modifier of prepositional phrase. You know what a prepositional phrase is? So in the phrase is a prepositional phrase. Okay? So the word right here, I could say the girl slapped Tom and I end it here. Full stop. But right in the face is showing you where the action was what? Performed. So the word right here is a modifier of the prepositional phrase in the face. Okay? So I believe you've learned a whole lot on adverbs. Don't forget that adverbs modify verbs, telling us how, where, and when the action was performed. And remember that all adverbs and adverbial phrases modify verbs, adjectives, other verbs, and what prepositional words, phrases. I believe you've learned today so much on that. Thank you very much for joining this lesson. To refresh your memory and recall all that was taught, I would love you to take the test that would appear on your screen.